Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, author of the Caverns and Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories. With me is Sam West, and today we're going to be talking about the spell Frost Fingers. That's what it's called, right?
Yeah,
Frost Fingers,
I
yes.
would I would be wiggling them, but they're frozen.
Ah!
Got them. Call back to an older episode. Yeah, Frostfingers is terrible. This is a wizard spell from Icewind Dale Rime of the Frost Maiden, and it's just like I can't believe they thought the spell was good enough to print, and we're like, yeah, we're proud of this one. This one deserves to be in this book. It's really simple. It's a first level evocation spell. It's an action to cast, 15-foot cone, verbal somatic components, duration instantaneous. And viewers at home, I want you to pick up if this sounds familiar, like another very common first level spell you may have heard of before. So, freezing cold blasts from your fingertips in a 15-foot cone. Each creature makes a con save, taking 2d8 cold damage on a failed save, or half as much on a success. The cold freezes non-magical liquids in the area that aren't being worn or carried. At higher levels, when you upcast this, it does an extra d8 damage for each spell level beyond first. So this is just bad Burning Hands, right? Like Burning Hands is 3d6 in a 15-foot
Yeah.
cone. This is 2d8 in a 15-foot cone, and that's just like slightly less. Like 3d8 is looking at 10 and a half, and this is looking at 9 and a half.
All right, so to care about this at all, you either have to care about cold damage versus fire, or you have to really want to freeze unheld liquids.
Yeah, which that last one, I mean, I love that text. I don't think that text matters, but I love it. I think that one has a tiny bit of potential to be like, oh, maybe we come up with a cool little like ice raft moment in the middle of, I don't know, the Bahamas or whatever, where you make yourself a little, because 15-foot cone ends up
Yeah,
being a
that's
pretty
pretty
wide
big.
circle. So you might be able to be like a 15-foot radius sphere little raft you can make yourself. But that seems a little bit niche for my tastes. At the same time, I can't like ever be too angry at the spell because it's almost identical to Burning Hands. It's just will be like if you want the cold variety of it, you could have just reflavored it. You could have just been like, hey DM, can I have my cone be a baby cone of cold and do cold damage to the fire damage? And this conversation and the spell would not need to exist.
Well, I'm still fixated on the potential uses of the freezing thing because that's
Where's your head going?
the only difference. I'm thinking you're in a on a raft, run away down the rapids in the river. Uh-oh, a waterfall's coming up. What happens if you freeze the water ahead of you? Does that do you just
Hopefully
sail off
something
the
really
edge
cool.
on a block of ice and
That's
get
what I'm
hurt
envisioning
worse?
would happen as a DM, right? Is the rest of the water behind you doesn't stop. It's just that 15-foot cone of water stops. So maybe there's like a brief like halt and crash as the water breaks through the ice that you just made, sending everyone careening over anyway, but now with large sharp chunks of ice coming with you, and it's just way more disastrous than before.
Yeah.
But there might be other DMs that are like, nah, you get like a little raft of safety, or maybe you jam up the thing long enough that water pours over it and you can like grab onto something and it like
Well,
catches somewhere.
so I'm thinking if you like put it straight, like well, not straight, but diagonally downward ahead of
Mm.
you,
Oh, make a
and
little
freeze.
wedge.
Yeah, freeze all the water. Like that's a massive amount of frozen water, and hopefully you can. I mean, you still got water piling up behind you, and
You whatever the speed and force coming from rapids is,
yeah.
then is just crashing into the instantaneously made sudden block of ice there that has to resist it. I think your mileage may vary. I think that is the most interesting question the spell asks, and I think that's a very, to be fair, in its credit, you're right, Bob. That is a very cool question.
That's I mean, that's the only text I care about in this spell because it's otherwise, like you said, worse burning hands.
Yeah. Burning
Uh,
Hands has similar text in that it likes things not being worn or carried on fire, but
yeah,
that
but you've got
is
a
thankfully
gazillion
less
other
useful than
spells
this.
that do that.
Yeah, as is like a tinderbox. There aren't a lot of other spells in the game or like objects in the game, especially at first level, where you can be like, I freeze a thing.
Hmm.
Now, granted, there's going to be more flammable material around than there's going to be freezable material. You're going to be more regularly walking into, towns and structures and be around forests and stuff than you're going to be in running water, or you're going to be on like a place where you can like other. I don't know where else you use. I guess you like freeze milk in in a tavern or something. You freeze all the beers. That doesn't
Well,
seem great.
no, that's like if it chilled drinks, that would be one thing, but I don't want frozen beer.
Well, then what you do? This is simple. You come in every morning, and then you go into the basement to where the cooler is, and you freeze one of them, and you just do that every day, and it like that coolness keeps the temperature of the whole room down, and
Yeah,
you use that to chill your beverages, and then you got yourself a professional on your hands. Then we're
nice.
thinking in the same line as Wall of Stone building and making temples with Temple of the Gods. We're using Frey Foss fingers as a refrigerator.
All right, well that's something that I don't know that any player characters are going to need, or players are going to need to. I'm sorry, no, player characters are going to need to do that. But yeah, certainly there's an NPC out there uh, running around making his living as the refrigerator.
I also conceptually love the idea of now a murder mystery where someone gets frozen to death and everyone blames Milkman Bob the refrigerator. Like that's what they call him because he's the only one that's using frost fingers around. And obviously, someone got killed in a being frozen alive. It had to be him, and then you have a fun little murder mystery. That could be cute. And there's some enriching text here that makes the spell interesting from a world building application, just because there aren't a lot of other like Ray of Frost is in this boat, right? As oh yeah, this is a cold damaging spell at low tiers that you can be like, yeah, this is doing the thing, it's making things cold, but like this specifically freezes stuff, so this is a little bit more world buildy than that.
Got one. I got one. Practical use. All right. You're being. Yeah,
I'm
it says.
skeptical.
It says worn or carried. It does not say partially submerged. So you've got pursuers chasing you through the woods. You cross a little stream, and they cross in
Mhm.
after you. Boom! Frost fingers. Their feet are stuck. You've got them. Was it restrained condition?
There's it definitely doesn't say.
Well, no, I'm saying like that. It wouldn't be. I mean, it's not paralyzed
Mhm.
because they can still move around, but they'd be restrained unless
Yeah,
they can. I mean, that's going to
break
be the
free.
DM's choice,
Mhm.
whatever they have to do to get out of it. But yeah, there you go. I think that's a pretty good one, actually.
Are you regularly running across streams away from
No, but I'm saying I've found a use for this.
Oh, I'm not. I agree. I think I like the use personally of. And I think this one will come up enough. Like maybe twice in a campaign. Making a raft or just frozen object to sit on and or trapping something under that water. That's kind of where that little
Or
niche will come
in,
in.
like, yeah,
Yeah,
the aboleth. Boom. Now it's just an ice cube.
I think your mileage is definitely going to vary on DMs if they let this be a restraining tool. I think as if I'm DMing it, I absolutely allow that kind of nonsense. I like whenever spells do more than their text because that encourages players to use them more magically in my mind, where they're like spells aren't built all to do one thing, but are meant to interface in a world of whimsical, nonsensical physics and do weird, wacky stuff. So whenever you take something like Frost Fingers and turn it into a giant area of effect restraint in a very niche condition, I'm all for that. So other DMs are gonna be like, nah, I'm playing this rules as written. The liquids are frozen, but the people just step out of it, and there's no real issue. They're not bound or anything. It doesn't like freeze them. And that's gonna make this a little bit finicky. I would just go in with that expectation of you might not always get what you want out of this whenever you're playing it to your specific DMs. You might not get oh, this is gonna be so cool. I'm gonna catch my DM off guard. I freeze the water, they're standing in. Oh, pardon. And then you have a nice like 5-minute argument about whether or not the monsters should be trapped there or not with a DM that doesn't like to play things outside the book.
I'll
Your
have that
mileage may
argument.
vary.
Yeah. Um, I don't know. Anything else to say about frost fingers?
I mean,
Let's see. It doesn't say how long the it stays frozen, does it?
no, it just freezes it. So then it's just gonna be in temperature. How cold is it? Who knows? It's gonna be up to the DMs to figure all that information out. Not that it's going to matter most of the time. Most of the time, this is gonna be a 2d8 damage burning hands, which as much as I was like, oh my god, this spell is terrible. It's a reprint. This is a spell that already exists that will give you almost exactly the same mileage. I've played with this spell and I've been like, yep, that was slightly worse burning hands every time I cast it. And it was like 3 times before we got out of this tier. So I don't know. I don't think you ever need this. I think that if they're gonna make repeat spells like this, having them in the themed books makes sense. So, like Rime of the Frost Maiden is kind of where this probably was supposed to go, and like that's where it went. So sure. I would have liked to see them take a little bit more interest in the cold freezing stuff. I would love to see them take a little bit more interest in cold magic slowing people and like making it cohesively a theme. As opposed to where it is now, which is just it's a damage type interchangeable with every other damage type, and there's no there's no reason to consider one or the other because they all do exactly the same thing, which is where this feels like to me. But still, if you're like Bob and you really like the freezing effect, I think you're gonna have a good time with this. A good enough time with this. A good enough time that you can probably justify it over burning hands. But just barely.
You got a rating for this one?
I think this is a 3, and this because Burning Hand exists and slightly better than this. But like, if you need an area effect damaging spell, why not Frost Fingers? I don't have a good answer to that. So, yeah, sure,
All right,
this is fine.
man. I was going to give it a 3, but I thought that was going to be above your rating. But no, I'm still going to give it a 3. I can't justify giving it much more than that.
See, I like your perspective of I liked it more than Sam, so whatever Sam says, I'm gonna go 1 up over, or if I liked it less than Sam, so whatever Sam says, I'm gonna go 1 under.
Yeah, well, that's what I normally do, but I can't give this a 4.
Yeah, this is not a 4 spell. Burning Hands is still better than this 99% of times. So.
I will say that I would like to see a rap album called Rhymes of the Frost Maiden. RHYMEZ.
Wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah.
For our commenters down below, I'm actually interested in what would you add to this spell to make it more cold-y? Like, can you just slap Ray of Frost text on this to make it feel more distinct? Is the cold freezing magical liquids enough? Or non-magical liquids enough? I don't know. I'm interested in your thoughts and opinions as to, like, how can we take spells that are really generic and maybe make them, you know, a little bit more, just a little bit more interesting. Just a little bit. Because I think this spell deserves to be a little bit more interesting.
Give us some clarity on the things that I brought up with the, if people can be restrained, because that is a lot of liquid.
It could be,
yeah. Yeah. How long does the ice last? These are the things you can't just say, all right, if it's water, you freeze it, and there, just some fluff flavor stuff. No, you give us some rules for that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was Frost Fingers. Thank you, Sam, and thank you everyone for joining us. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, informative, or entertaining, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button below. You needn't smash it, a gentle tap will suffice. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel. And make sure you check out the links in the description, where you'll find my Caverns and Creatures series of comedy fantasy novels, Sam's full review of the spell, and other fun things.